for a second, for a moment, to get a foothold in the game. I just thought the press was fantastic. I thought the whole midfield, obviously the plaudits for usually the front three, the full-backs, but the midfield today, Thiago, Fabinho was unbelievable. Henderson as well, certainly for the first goal. I thought there were so many amazing performances, and you can't see Villarreal coming back from this.
It will be incredible. Let's get some instant reaction and head down to Des. Des, all yours.
Jordan and Andy join me here. Jordan, we saw Villarreal's discipline, but you got through, you broke them in the end.
Yeah, a very organised team. We knew they'd make it difficult, but it was important that we just kept going, stayed positive, and we had the confidence that if we'd done that, kept moving the ball quick, we'd eventually break them down, and we did that with 2 good goals.
2 good goals. The first one, you got a big deflection. Doesn't matter though, does it?
I thought it went straight in.
Sure not.
No, yeah, a little bit lucky. It was good play, good build up. A little bit lucky off the keeper, I think, and then hit the post. But you need a little bit of luck when the team's a low block, and we got that with the first, and then I thought that lifted the crowd, and thankfully we got another one.
That's right, Andy. It changes the whole atmosphere in the place. Then Sadio gets the second goal, and it feels like some momentum though.
Yeah, look, we had quite a few chances in the first half. Just try to break them down, just try to keep doing what we were doing. So, look, the first goal always kind of does that. We then had, a bit of momentum. The noise in the air was incredible after the first goal, and it kind of took us to the second one. We'd have liked to add maybe one more or whatever, but it wasn't meant to be. But a clean sheet and 2 goals, we can't argue that.
Amazing amount of energy out there. I mean, you kept pressing them. They were trying to absorb it, weren't they?
Yeah, look, you have to. It's the semi-final of the Champions League. If you can't run about for 90 minutes in this kind of game, then when will you? So, look, our intensity's been really high the last couple of games. We've had a real hectic schedule, and look, but we're enjoying it. And I think you've seen that today. There's still a lot of work to do in this tie, but we're happy with our work tonight.
Yeah, you didn't get frustrated. That was very important, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the message from Hendo at half time, the gaffer at half time, just saying, we were playing well in the first half, probably the best stuff we've played, and we didn't get a goal for it, but we kept going, we kept trying to be patient, and luckily with a big deflection we managed to get the breakthrough.
And Jordan, the defensive work today was excellent. They didn't have a shot on goal, I don't think.
Yeah, I thought, especially first one, majority of the game I thought kind of press was really good. When we lose the ball high up the pitch, the reaction to win it back and cause them problems, I thought was really good, and I think that made it really difficult for them at times. But you've got to give them credit, they're a good team. It was hard to break down, and the game's still alive, and it'll be a tough test over in Villarreal.
Thanks, gents. Well played.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, well played, those men. Look, 4 substitutions again this evening. We spoke about it in the build-up, the importance of the squad. There's no sense of tiring or exhaustion. It's their 55th game of the season, and they look as strong as ever.
No, they're kicking on again. I think they make substitutions. Bearing in mind this is a Champions League semi-final, they're making substitutions as if they're resting players, bringing players, keeping players fresh. Origi deserved his chance again tonight. They brought Gomez on. They wouldn't have done that if they felt that Villarreal was still in the tie. But for me, it's also the mentality. I looked at Canate put his foot on the ball towards the end of the game. They were 2-0 up. They were cruising, and Van Dijk just was screaming at him to move it quicker, to move it quicker. It's the mentality of being 2-0 up and cruising in the game and still wanting to go for more. It's just amazing to see.
135 goals so far this season.
It's going to break all the records, isn't it? I was reading about it before the game.
They'll easily break the record.
Yeah, I think Andy Robertson hit the nail on the head. Patience was the name of the game today. They absolutely swarmed all over Villarreal in the first half. Sometimes the ball just doesn't go in. Stay patient, it'll come. It happened against Everton at the weekend. It happened again tonight. As long as you don't give the opposition a chance, then, and sometimes it'll finish 0-0. There's still another leg to go, but just don't do anything silly. Be patient and it'll come.
I think that they've got to just make sure they fend off any type of complacency that could creep in. You can't allow complacency to creep in anywhere. Yes, it's 2-0, this tie isn't over. You've got to go there, you've got to put in a professional performance. But one thing I would say about this team, they're a solid bunch. There's a togetherness there that won't allow... The 2 people that were in that interview there are 2 of the lieutenants, I feel, behind the scenes, along with Van Dijk probably, along with maybe Trent now as well, who will control that culture of against complacency, because that is the thing that can trip you up.
Do you think that they'll go into the next game, Villarreal for that matter, do you think they'll go into the next game thinking we have to do something entirely different here? We've just felt the wrath of or felt what they offer. surely Unai Emery's got to do something to change the course.
I think
play longer or play.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. But one thing I will
can't
say
win then.
is that Villarreal, that stadium's tight.
It is tight.
Their atmosphere there. Do not underestimate what it's like there.
Mate, imagine a whole stadium of that behind us. Look,
That's
they're
what I'm
going
saying.
nowhere.
That's what I'm saying. It will be a very different game over there. I think Liverpool still win, but they've got to manage the atmosphere that's in the stadium. And sometimes when you're at home or you're not in a stadium, you don't understand the effect of a stadium and the energy that it brings. They will bring that energy that you've got to compete against as well as the 11 players.
In some ways, I think that plays into Liverpool's hands. If they do, if the atmosphere's up and they start diving into things and coming out of their shape, I think that'll suit Liverpool, and it could be even more.
One goal though for Villarreal early in that game, and suddenly
They've got to get in their box first, though, Jake.
Yeah, they've got to get out.
You know, if Liverpool press like they do,
it's true.
It's impossible to play against that press.
Like
I think they've got to change their tactics.
Yeah, I'd like to know how many times Alisson touched the ball with his hands. He felt like he was just a sweeper today.
We will get that information for you.
I knew you would, Jake.
After the break, though. Welcome back. It's nice to have you with us for the last couple of nights. A good night's work tonight for Liverpool. I don't want to sound greedy, but is there an element of Jurgen Klopp looking at the stats after this game thinking, 19 shots, Villarreal didn't have a single one on target. Would be nice to have a 3-0 lead.
I think he'd be saying he'd always want more. I think you're greedy, aren't you, as players and managers?
3 feels so much different, though, doesn't it?
But I think he'll still be satisfied with what he's got.
Agree?
Yeah. I thought he made substitutions that almost didn't promote going for an extra one. You know, Joe Gomez instead of Trent, for starters, are much more defensive. You know, when your right back is one of the most attacking pawns that you've got on the pitch, then, you know, so I thought maybe, not that he was settling for two, but I don't know, I thought he was just comfortable there and resting a couple of legs and things like that. So they're going to have to go out there knowing that the game is still alive. Still got something in it. If they concede the first goal, it's really alive. But an extra goal tonight would have almost put it to bed, you feel?
Yeah, totally agree. I think 3 would have killed. That would have been too much for Villarreal to come back for. 2 is, you know, there's a possibility, but it's a slim chance when you watch Liverpool in the form they're in at the moment.
OK, well, let's have a look actually at the opening goal for Liverpool. And there's hallmarks all the way through this of the things they're really good at, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, they're just exceptional. It was one side to the other. This little turn, the little take from Thiago was brilliant, but from the left all the way out to the right, and I love this from Henderson. You know, it's an unselfish run, it's an overlap. A lot of the time you don't get played in, and Mo Salah would use you actually to create a bit of space where he can cut in and knock it in with his left foot, but he gets it this time. He gets a little bit of luck, don't get me wrong. I think the keeper doesn't really move his feet too much. He's still trying to paddle at it on the near post, but Henderson, full credit to him. The amount of times that you make a run that you don't get given the ball, and to keep doing it is the hard thing. I know that being a centre forward, you make run after run after run, you don't get it, you think, right, I'm not going to make a run again, but you keep going, because the one time you don't, then the one time you don't get a goal.
Even the fact that it was Mo Salah there, like, how many times does he put
That's
him in?
what I mean, he's cutting in, isn't he?
Shooting most of the time, but fair play to him, he's done it, he's an unselfish player and he's got his rewards.
And Jordan said it, didn't he, in the interview with Des, like the noise when that, like, knew that was such a significant moment for 2 games.
It was the same as the Everton game on the weekend. You know, once they got that breakthrough, you knew this is it, and they went through the gears. The crowd were up. It was pumping. It felt like a semi-final then, and obviously they went on and dominated from there.
Well, a couple of minutes later, yet again.
2-0. Yeah, and we said about the way that they went through the gears at this point. As soon as they got the first goal, this is a really good goal. But I just want to look at it from a defensive point of view here. When you look at it here, I'll carry on playing, sorry. Mo Salah comes back onside and receives the ball. But here, you got, as a defender, I just want to highlight it, the defender here, Torres. You either do one of 2 things. You either go in and you don't allow the danger man, Mo Salah, to turn. You get up right against him and make him play backwards, or you stay where he is and you defend that space there and you don't let anybody run into there. There's no one going in there. At that moment in time, Mane's not running into that area where I've just highlighted that space. So he can afford now to go in on Salah and really pressure him and push him backwards. The problem,
if he actually steps back into that zone that you're saying, Sadio Mane doesn't even make the run.
He won't
even make the run.
You're a wall. You're exactly. Running into bodies. But when I let it play on here, the worst thing you can do as a defender is go in no man's land. Do nothing. Do neither of the things that you should do. Go in and press him, or stay in your slot. He does neither. Steps off, and allows then the space then for Mane to run into. And it's a fantastic weight of pass and an even better finish.
Yeah, as I say, it's the position. As a centre forward, you're looking for weakness, you're looking for a mistake, and as you say, once he drops off and lets Mo Salah turn, you're in big trouble, because Mo Salah can turn, shoot, he can feed Mane in like he's done. But you've got to be. You had so many bodies around Mo Salah at the time. There was only 2 players near the box. He could have been so aggressive,
Go tight.
right against him. I would have hated that as a centre forward. Someone being really aggressive.
Before the game, you'd have said, any balls around the box, do not let any of that front three turn and face us. It's the last thing you want.
I think you could see it with Mo Salah. Like, at the moment he turned, he couldn't believe that no one had closed him down, and then obviously accelerated into the space.
OK, let's have a look at the VAR line. Do you know, I kind of get the impression that if this was a goal being scored against the English team, we might spend quite a long time questioning whether that line is right, but there it is anyway. We'll take it, right?
We overanalyse things, I think, sometimes.
All the time.
For me there, like, you give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. There is a doubt there. I mean, it's very close, but I think certainly in the Premier League, I think we spend too much time drawing lines and worrying about it. It's got to favour the attacking team. It did it tonight and no one's complaining.
Apart from our Spanish colleagues next door who are complaining. Let's have a look at the touchscreen and just talk about the press for Liverpool this evening, the importance of that in the context of this game particularly.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about how much we admire the way that they press and the way they do it. I mean, like, they don't give you any time. They make a good team here in Villarreal look very ordinary, and you see here, look at the way they press. You've got Salah. Again, we talk about how much his goals. Look at his work rate straight out as soon as that ball's out there, and the whole team come across. And I'll just let it pan a little bit here as the ball goes back. What I like here as well, you see Trent. He jumps early, bang, go, because there's confidence of people behind him. He's got the security of people like Fabinho, Thiago. But look at this man here as well. He's your legs. He's your runner as well. He's a catalyst. Henderson, always there, triggering the ability for people to jump out and play. And another thing I like to take, the 2 centre-backs. Look at the 2 centre-backs on the halfway line. Them 2 boys there. They're waiting for anything around these areas here. Anywhere around here, these guys are munching. They're eating people and they don't mind the race. I'll run back here. They're favourites in their own minds all the time. The confidence that they've got, and I think, Michael, you said this a few times, they're happy to be on the halfway line 1v1 like that. Yeah,
it's your worst nightmare as a centre forward is when someone is bigger, stronger, faster, because you literally could have 2 centre forwards against Virgil van Dijk. You're just not getting past him for speed, so he can buy time as well, and then you can be extra aggressive in the press. And you've got to remember as well, when you look at a pitch from up above line here, there looks like there's a lot of space in certain areas, but when you're on pitch level and you see 3-4 red shirts all facing you 10 yards away looking at, it feels like you're strangled. It feels so claustrophobic that where I can't find a space to pass the ball to, and they just run at you with such pace and enthusiasm.
How horrible is it, Peter?
Yeah, I just felt like they had to try something different. You know, when they were playing those little passes, it was playing into Liverpool's hands completely. They were getting some of their best chances from actually winning the ball back when Villarreal had possession. I felt they had to just play in Danjuma or Chukwueze just down the sides, just to try and get themselves a breather, get themselves out. Because the word of the night has been strangling. They literally could not breathe. They couldn't get any respite. They were on top of them every time they had the ball, and
why
they couldn't get out.
Why didn't that happen then? Like, Unai Emery is such a bright, smart coach.
Because I think if I take you to this next clip, this is 2-0, by the way, and some teams would have put their foot on the ball, like we said, Konate did at one point, and gone, listen guys, we've got 2-0, we'll take that. These guys, you've got your centre half shooting here at 2-0. Look, Virgil van Dijk has a shot, but watch the most important bit is the reaction to get the ball. Look at him straight away. Diaz goes, he's beaten, tackle, isn't it? Then look at Fabinho, look, bang.
Yeah,
that's the counter press.
And
on the attack again.
After.
And they're getting shots at goal off the back of a counter press there. And that epitomises there, that one little scenario there epitomises the way that this team play. 2-0, not resting on their laurels.
And that's why they are where they are. That's why they're on the verge of the quadruple.
That's right. I was just going to say, Jake, it's hard though, isn't it? When you practice a certain way, this is our philosophy. This is how we're going to play. We're going to play through we're not going to play long ball. We're going to set up like that. It's very difficult. I admit it's difficult to then go and say, right, we're getting strangled here. Let's just go long ball. It's not what they do best. But what option have you got against this team? I go back to, I think they've got to change drastically just for the one-off game, because they're going to get nothing if they play into Liverpool's hands like that.